The Xbox 360. A console many know, a console that was with many during the core of their childhood. A pillar of entertainment with many games and social features that made memories that are tied close to the minds of people everywhere. Today I will be taking a dive back into the nostalgia and telling you my personal experience and journey with this masterpiece. This story begins November 22nd, 2005, with the highly anticipated launch of the Xbox 360. Unveiled on MTV on May 12th, 2005, and later expanded upon later that month at E3 2005, with more details on game information and the soon to be beloved Xbox Live service, this was looking to be a great year for gaming. This is all stuff you've probably heard before from people like the Act Man, so I won't touch on the history too much and rather my personal experience with the console, but I find it so interesting looking back on the culture at the time and seeing people's excitement. Like, look at these people just utterly excited and eagerly waiting to get their game or find out more information on this new technology. It's quite the contrast to today, and I love to see people happy for gaming. With that out of the way, we start with my experience with the console. Growing up in a very rural area in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, gaming wasn't exactly on my family's or the community's mind. My dad, however, would venture into the gaming scene slightly. Since he was working in IT, he was familiar with new and upcoming technologies. So we did have some gaming consoles, particularly my first ever experience with gaming, the original Xbox. I have no clue how old I was, what year it was, or anything really, but I'm sure the 360 was already released at the time I got my hands on the original Xbox. I, being 22 at the time of this recording, was only 2 years old when the 360 launched, so my brain had not really turned on yet. But God, I think my first formula thought and memory was sitting in our side room with a CRT playing Halo 2, Unreal Tournament, and the kinda actually good Buffy the Vampire Slayer game, and many others with my older brother. And I totally did not grind out the whole Cat in a Hat video game. That did not happen. I remember always wanting to play it. When I randomly hear the Xbox original power up sequence, it still sends shivers down my spine. Like it is a memory in the deep recesses of my mind trying to float up to the top from my very early childhood. The bread and butter, however, for this console was Halo 2. This game was insane for my young brain. Once again, I have no idea how old I was when I was playing this. Fairly certain it was before I even attended school. But the massive open world scapes for each campaign level, the amazing cutscenes. I mean, I still have the opening cutscene for Halo 2 etched into my brain. I remember seeing the three like alien dudes in the floaty chairs. I'm not really familiar with the lore of Halo, but seeing them and the Arbiter and thinking how crazy it was and how crazy they looked, I felt like I was in a movie. Not only was the campaign so intriguing to me, but the multiplayer, oh my god. I had friends who lived about 3 minutes away from me by car. They were a pair of brothers, my best friends in the whole world, basically my only friends until like middle school. And I would go over to their house and would sneak my copy of Halo 2 over to play on their grandpa's Xbox. And I remember being pressured into asking their grandpa to borrow his Xbox and bring it to their house to play after like a long day of like playing outside, playing some football, shooting some BB guns, all that kid stuff, because they thought it would be more likely for him to say yes since I was such a nice, cute kid. I remember growing up, I would only refer to adults as like Mr. or Mrs. last name. I was a very respectful young kiddo. And he said yes, and we would stay up all night trying to set up a multiplayer game for the three of us to play together, or trying to beat the co-op campaign in one night. And of course, small fights and bickering would occur as it does with kids, but we would always make up and get through the level, or just keep playing. It was some of the fondest memories of my life, maybe even the best time of my life. Like writing the script for this, I was thinking back on it and I was tearing up. Man, it would be great just to be able to go back once to re-experience this and re-experience my childhood. That whole story was just to lay the groundwork on why I was so obsessed with gaming, why I needed to get my hands on more and more, and why I ended up getting my hands on the 360 at any cost. I'm not sure when, but my dad did end up getting the 360 too, actually, but we'll get into that later. At this stage, my dad was kind of over it. Gaming wasn't a priority for an adult at the time, so he'd basically only play when like the new COD came out or play some NCAA college football every once in a while. Every year a new COD would come out, my dad would get it, boot it up, and I would get so excited. I'd sit on the couch and watch him play, just hoping and praying that he would ask me to play or let me have a turn. That didn't really happen, however. I don't know if it was just because I was so young and he didn't think I'd take care of it or whatnot, or break it. And as you'll later hear, this was actually a good precaution. But he would boot up COD, play one or two of the campaign missions, and then never touch it again until the next one came out. This would bother me so much as a kid, as a 360 would just sit there in our entertainment stand not touched for months at a time since I wasn't allowed to play it. I do, however, remember, and this could be my brain making things up, but my uncle would come over and hook his Xbox up to the CRT we would use for our original Xbox, and my dad on the TV in the living room, and they would play LAN together on COD 4. And I thought I would include this just because this is something I wish I could have experienced. I hate that I was too young to get to experience the famous LAN parties. Although now in present time I try to recreate this feeling with my friends from time to time with current hardware. If I did have enough people interested in going back to the old consoles and doing this, I would definitely be down. But anyways, since I wasn't allowed to play the 360, it made me crave it more and more and more. As at the time, our 360 was the only gaming console we had. The disk drive failed on our original Xbox, so we couldn't play that. So I was just completely out of gaming options. And this is where I took any means necessary to play. Once I did start going to elementary school, my parents would have to leave work before I got on the bus. Therefore, my grandma would come over and watch us and get us on the bus. This was my time to shine. Once my parents left for work, I would run downstairs, find the controllers, and boot up the 360. My grandma didn't know I wasn't allowed to play it, or she didn't even know to mention it to my parents that I was playing it, so I had like free reign for that hour or an hour and a half before I went to school. And I put that neglected 360 to good use, beating any game my dad had for it. He didn't have Xbox Live, and I was probably in the 5 to 8 year old range, so I obviously couldn't pay for it. So I had to stick to offline campaigns, but this was enough for me at the time. Every COD you can think of on the 360, World at War, Black Ops, COD 4, Modern Warfare 2 and 3, I beat them all. Crazy to think a 5-year-old was able to do that, but I was a grinder. Me being so young and doing all this came with some consequences when I was playing these more mature games, however. I remember beating World at War and being so proud of myself because that last mission was no joke. Then suddenly I'm in a plane flying over a dark, war-torn area and we crash. Then something sprints at me as I gain consciousness, and the words Nazi zombies written in blood comes over the screen, and I spawn in on the first level of Nocturne. I immediately ran and turned off the Xbox and cried. Being young and vulnerable sure was fun. I only had one experience with zombies before that, and that's when my dad got Black Ops and tried out the zombie mode with me. I don't know why my dad decided zombies was what I should get to play for once on his Xbox, but that's fine. We, of course, had no idea what was going on at the time. Everything said we needed to turn on the power, and I kept suggesting the trap switches to be the power switch, which was obviously wrong, and we died probably like round 3, but it was a fun time. What was not so fun was being so deathly scared after, thinking zombies would start walking up to our house from the yard at night. I was really a wimp back then. Another slightly traumatizing experience was the level in Modern Warfare 2, I think. It might have been Modern Warfare 3, I don't know. But the intro to level was an emergency broadcast system with that distressing alarm noise we all know, and this scared the ever-living crap out of me. I remember running upstairs to my brother crying and showing him just for him to be like, dude, it's just the game. This just goes to show how immersed I was in these games as a child and why they mean so much to me. And even to this day, that noise like it trips me out. Like I can't listen to that like emergency broadcast noise because it makes me like relive that like trauma as a kid of being so scared of it. Eventually, as I played on and on, the 360 just abruptly stopped working, and I was so confused. You probably know where this is going, but I gave the console the infamous Red Ring of Death. This is what I was mentioning before when my dad might have been right about not letting me play it. I was so worried and upset about this, not because I couldn't have my preschool grind sessions, but because my dad was going to kill me for breaking his 360. However, since, like I said before, he never touched it, it went unnoticed for a long time until he got Black Ops 2, I believe, and tried to once again play only the first level and get off just to have the 360 red ring, so he couldn't play it at all. If I remember correctly, he just assumed it broke over time and I didn't get in trouble, and he just ended up getting another one, the new model of the 360s, the sleek black one, which he also did not touch. Man, I'm really getting frustrated over my dad's lack of gaming enthusiasm. But after the Red Ring incident and the time passing, allowing me to get my hands on a PS2 and eventually a PS3, I didn't really touch the 360 again, so. But that was until now. That's right, I have a 360 right here. And it's not just any 360, it's my dad's black one that he bought to replace the one I broke. After a while, it just ended up getting thrown in a closet, and my dad ended up asking if I wanted it, and I took it in with loving arms. And by loving arms, I mean going right into my closet, because all I cared about was Fortnite. We love Fortnite. But once I moved out, I took it with me where it slept in closets until about a week ago. You see, I've been on a nostalgia trip lately, being bored of modern games and watching like every single video from The Act Man, where he goes back and revisits old games and speaks on their impacts, so I thought, I want to re-experience these gems. Also, by the way, this video is heavily inspired by The Act Man if you couldn't tell, so please, if you like this style of content or these topics, go check him out for a more in-depth and better quality type of video. I really do love that man. Anyways, to relive these masterpieces that I miss all too much, I downloaded the Master Chief Collection on my Xbox One, and me and my girlfriend have been playing through Combat Evolved at the moment and having an absolute blast. I really do recommend checking these games out again because they really do stand the test of time amazingly. I love explaining things to her and getting that co-op experience from my childhood back again, and with these games they are incredibly accessible for non-gamers, so my girlfriend had little to no trouble getting the controls down and kicking some Covenant ass alongside me. That is for the campaigns, however. The multiplayer is another beast. I see it as such a simple game. You aim at people and shoot them to win. But man, do I get shredded. These guys must have never stopped playing Halo because they are worlds better than me. and I consider myself very good at games, but I guess that just goes to show the care and work put into these games. Like 20 years later, there are people still grinding it out, and I just love to see that. But me and my girlfriend plan on continuing playing and trying to beat every Halo game up to Halo 4, and I am so excited. This, however, wasn't quite enough for me, so I decided to dig out the old 360 and get it hooked up. After digging and digging, I was able to find the console, but not the power cord, which was a pain. I had the big block that you plug the cord into, but not the actual AC power cord that goes into it, so I had to take a stop to Walmart and pick one up. I also could not find a controller, which blew because I knew I had one somewhere and I wanted an original Microsoft 360 controller, since the third party ones always seemed to kind of suck. So I went to my local game store and they had one left, one official 360 controller, and I immediately bought it, as well as a couple games so I could play the dang thing. My girlfriend came with me and was getting so annoyed with me as I couldn't decide what games to get. I literally sat there for like 20 minutes racking my brain on what games to get. They had Halo and COD, of course, but I wanted to experience some of the things I was yet to ever play, but I heard so much about growing up. So I ended up getting Crysis 3, Far Cry 3, and Marvel's Ultimate Alliance. All games that were critically acclaimed at the time, at least to my knowledge. But the whole experience of looking at this wall of games and seeing all the possible options and trying my best to decide between them all brought me back to the GameStop days. I would rarely get to go to GameStop when I was younger, but when I did, oh my gosh, it was like a wonderland. So many games, so many new and different consoles. I always wished I could get them all. It really blows that physical games are out and digital games are in. As seeing these games on my shelf, picking them up for the first time and opening them, it was also surreal. I miss it deeply. My local GameStop that I went to growing up and even recently went to just closed their doors, and man, that hurt. It hurts a lot. Rest in peace, GameStop. You'll never be forgotten. But with all my goodies acquired, it was time for me to boot up the 360 after probably 13 years of slumber. And boy, I was excited. I booted it up just to be met with system updates after connecting the console to my router and then being unable to connect to Xbox Live. I kept getting this weird error when testing the connection to Xbox Live, and after probably like an hour or two of scouring forums and Reddit for a fix, it just randomly started working. So I don't know, but I'm happy, and now here we have it. The 360 is finally ready. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the original Xbox 360. And like I said before, this is the one that my dad bought after I read Ring of Death, his original one. Right now we have Marvel Ultimate Alliance in there, and can we just talk about this menu? Like, even the menu is just so nostalgic. You have your social tab, the games tab, you can like open up your games, see what games you have. All this like really laid the groundwork for what was to come with future consoles. You got the like just general entertainment, you got like videos and movies, apps like your Netflix and your YouTube and stuff like that, and then settings, of course. So one big thing I wanted to talk about here was the avatar and customization. So this obviously is not what I look like, and this is not my username. This is actually my dad's original Xbox account. So he brought it over to this console once he got it, and this is his account. So as you can see, here's his avatar, his name, Ricochet for You. What a banger name. That was actually such a good name. I don't know how he came up with that. But let's take a look at his account. So, you know my dad, like I talked about, we grew up in a rural area, so he's big on guns and hunting and stuff like that. So his character customization is literally him, down to a T. He's got his hat on. My dad's always wearing a hat. He's got his beard and his camo one. It's my dad down to a T. And I just love this little message he has put there: keep shooting, I will. I think that's adorable, and I just love to see that. So one of the main reasons why I wanted to check this out is for the achievements. So if we open up the achievements, like I said before, my dad did not play his Xbox that much. He would hop on, play for a little bit, like play a level or two, and then get off for months. So if we take a look at these achievements, if we go all the way back to the beginning of time, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege Vegas, I don't remember him playing that, or I never played it. PGR, not familiar. Forza 2, that sounds about right for my dad. Halo 3, that's crazy. I didn't know my dad had Halo 3. So this just goes to show that I was so young when this stuff first came out that I don't even remember him owning Halo 3. So this is such a nostalgia trip for me. But as we can see here, the first game we got to review is COD 4. So looking at the achievements here, this is all me. This is all me from when I was like in the 5 to 8 year old range. So all these achievements were from me, 5-year-old me gaming away. So as you can see here, complete the game on any difficulty. That was me playing on my dad's original Xbox 360. When they were away, sneaking on it and beating the Call of Duty campaigns. And then if we check out Black Ops, same thing. All these achievements are from me, from when I played the game. Once again, complete the campaign on any difficulty. That was me. My dad would, like I said, only play like 1 or 2 of the levels. So when I would sneak on, I literally beat Black Ops, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, not so much, because like I said, that's when I kind of moved on and I had my own stuff to play. But Call of Duty World at War, Modern Warfare 2, and then Far Cry 3 and Marvel Ultimate Alliance is from like literally like 2 days ago. So yeah, I just wanted to bring up the old Xbox and show you a little bit of it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think this about concludes my love letter to the Xbox 360. Between Halo, COD, and other games, the unique customization with the avatars and themes, my own desires and determination to play and experience this beast of machine, I believe the 360 will always be considered one of the greats. Let me know in the comments what your own memories and experiences were with the 360. Let your story be known so we can all reminisce on this time period in gaming. I will also be streaming some 360 and nostalgic games on my Twitch channel if you'd like to check that out. The link is in the description. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more content if you did enjoy the video. And I will see you next time. Thanks everyone.